hear a story of kindness and sharing in the world. Now for a change of pace. Not all speeches are about storytelling, although that was a compelling and interesting story. Some speeches are designed to present information, such as the Pathways Project number 3, Research and Present. Toastmaster Andrea Tantillo researched a topic for an ethics class that she's currently taking, and she's going to present a summary of that project. You may notice that she is going to use notes. This is okay. It's perfectly acceptable to use notes when you're pulling research or details for something that you're maybe not as intimately familiar with. She's also going to use some visual aids during her presentation, and you'll note she's recording. We will not be recording the remainder of the presentation, just her speech. Please help me in welcoming to the lectern Toastmaster Tantillo, presenting on ethics and communication, a look at United.
Making ethical communications is really important for businesses. And if you don't believe me, just ask United Airlines. Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Today I'm going to talk to you about ethics and communications, particularly United Airlines' response to a passenger being forcibly removed from an airplane back in 2017. First, I'm going to give you a definition of ethics. Then I'm going to explain 2 different ethical theories. And finally, I'm going to offer some recommendations that United Airlines could have used to do a better job with their communications. According to ethics scholar Shannon Bowen, ethics focuses on how we live our lives. It looks at questions like what's right or wrong, what's fair or unfair, what's caring or uncaring, good or bad, responsible or irresponsible. There are many theories of ethics, but today I'm going to talk about 2. There's consequence-based ethics, or utilitarianism, and then there's duty-based ethics, or deontology. Utilitarianism is based on decision-making based on what the consequences of that decision are. It's serving the greater good, or making the most people happy. In juxtaposition to that is deontology, which is duty-based ethics, or doing the right thing, regardless of consequences, good or bad. There are pluses and minuses to both of these theories. For example, we all can probably agree that killing someone would be wrong. But let's say someone came in here right now with a gun or a knife and they wanted to hurt us or even kill us. What would we do? The utilitarian ethicist would say we need to stop that assailant no matter what, even if we have to kill him, because that would serve the greater good and make the most people, like all of us, happy and not dead. The ethicist practicing deontology would say we shouldn't stop the assailant, but we shouldn't harm him or kill him, because killing someone is wrong. That is not the right thing to do. And we have to do the right thing, regardless of the consequences. We can't kill someone, not even in self-defense. So ethical communication doesn't normally involve someone getting killed. But it is important, and it can be done, as long as you plan and consider, rather than just reacting. So let's take a look at United Airlines. In April 2017, United Airlines faced an international scrutiny when a cell phone video emerged showing 2 security officers forcibly removing a bloody passenger from an overbooked flight. Following the incident, United Airlines' response was first to minimize the situation and distance itself when CEO Oscar Munoz offered the following statement. I apologize for having to reaccommodate the customers. Our team is moving with a sense of urgency to work with the authorities and conduct our own detailed review of what happened. The situation was exacerbated the very next day when an employee leaked an email from the CEO that was blaming the passenger and saying that he refused to leave the plane after being asked politely and that security needed to be called to help. Just 2 weeks after the incident, United Airlines reached an undisclosed settlement with the passenger. And that same day, the airline released a statement taking full responsibility for the incident and committing to changing policies that made it happen in the first place. the CEO issued this statement: "Every customer deserves to be treated with the highest levels of service and the deepest sense of dignity and respect." 2 weeks ago, we failed to meet that standard, and we profoundly apologize. Was United Airlines' response good? No, it was not. They changed the story based on who they were talking to, which made the initial apology, and frankly the subsequent apologies, seem inauthentic and hard to believe. Was United Airlines' response unethical? Well, maybe, maybe not. Depends on which school of ethicism you want to subscribe to. With utilitarianism, the first two responses could be considered ethical because the airline was protecting itself and its shareholders and its employees and all future customers who weren't involved. But from a deontological standpoint, the third response is the one that was ethical because United Airlines had a duty to make restitution and to make it right with the individual passenger, and then to commit to making sure nothing like that ever happened again. Ethics scholar Carol Gower writes that truth and transparency are key to an organization's successful and ethical communication during a crisis. A crisis gives an organization a chance to prove that they're a good community member or a bad one. If an organization tells the truth throughout the crisis, even if the story has to change because new facts emerge, that gives the organization a chance to gain and maintain trust among its stakeholders. For ethical decision-making, I recommend United Airlines be transparent and truthful. Telling a different story across different audiences is just dishonest. A transparent and truthful response would remain consistent across all audiences. Corporations must also be the ones to tell their story. If you let someone else set your narrative, that's going to put you on the defensive and possibly make you make a rash or unethical decision. Now, who are we kidding? United Airlines had to know what was going on that plane. But the first anybody saw of it was that viral cell phone video, and then it was picked up by news organizations around the world. And while it's a good idea not to admit guilt before knowing the whole story, I would recommend United Airlines offer prompt and sincere apologies when passengers are physically injured as a result of their policies. In conclusion, United Airlines' responses, while not good, could be considered ethical if you look at utilitarianism or serving the better good, or deontology, doing the right thing. With a strong ethical foundation and diligent preparation, United Airlines may find that next time there's a crisis, the viral video might just focus on someone doing good. Here's a list of the sources that I used for this presentation. I don't expect anybody to memorize them right now, but if you're more interested, there's a handout on the back wall there. Thank you.
Toastmaster Tantillo. I have to say I enjoyed the juxtaposition between our two speakers today. The more narrative flow of our first speaker's icebreaker, and then the very structured and detailed, informative speech that we heard from Toastmaster Tantillo. Well done.